So I didn't know that you lost your father when you were so young. So what kind of an impact did that have on you and who you've become today? And even like how you raise your kids, did that have a very big impact for you?
See, our mother was a very strong person.
Mm.
So once my father passed away, she literally took up the all family affairs. She did not involve any of my chachas. She took over everything on himself, and she decided that now we are on our own, and we have to continue our studies, both the brothers. And Kari was very small, so he was not a problem. Myself, my brother, we were both in college, and my father had left lot of estate plus some money. That money was to be used for our education and day-to-day living. He was very well-off man, our father. So he had some FDs in Punjab National Bank, which we started using that money for our livelihood. So life carried on after him. There was no hassle as such, other than we lost our father.
What was the atmosphere or the state of India like during World War II, but also during partition? So was it like what was it like? Like the emotion, the energy, and a lot of people died in partition. So were you ever scared during that time? Were you scared for your life or for your family at all?
Most of the killings that happened were in Punjab. People coming from the Pakistani part of Punjab and Sindh to India, and Indians, Muslims going to Pakistan. And there they started killing each other. Complete trains coming from Pakistan and going to Pakistan were totally massacred.
Mhm.
A very large number of people died in that. I don't remember the figure, but it must be well over 1 million people that died. Well over 1 million. But we were in Punch, and there were no riots in Punch.
Hmm.
What happened? All the Muslims were living in the town. We left. Punch was, as I told you, Punch town was a small town surrounded by hillocks. So we all the Muslims went on to these hills, and all the hills were occupied by the Pakistani invaders. So they went into Pakistan
Mhm.
eventually, while the Hindus and Sikhs were left in the Punch garrison. Punch garrison was surrounded from all sides and cut off. And as I told you, the Maini company reached Punch, and the uh, colonel of that, commandant of that Maini regiment, Pritam Singh, took over responsibility for the Punch town, and he was the savior of Punch. Then we built a airstrip. Dakota started landing, and then people were whoever slowly and slowly, some people started leaving Punch, and others just continued there.
When you and Dadima and my dad Vijay, when you guys lived in Europe, so you were there in 1953 to 1955. Did you experience any sort of racism? Was that very prevalent? Being so within the
No,
same decade as partition?
none. There was no racism. Even in UK, at that time, there was no racism. We were treated very well. And in Chelmsford, there are a few Indians, mostly and Pakistanis, mostly service officers, well placed, well mannered, and they adjusted very well in that society. And we really never felt any problems. We had problems because of our house was small. Every evening I had to come and put coal in the this thing, light a fire. Milk was left on our doorstep every morning, and we used to pick it up and bring it in. There was a store which sold vegetables and grocery just outside our house. They were very good friends of ours. So we used to get, and for washing, mummy or both of us, depending on if I had gone to college, mummy used to put the in a pram, put all the soiled clothes there, and go to a laundromat. So she used to go to a laundromat, wash all the clothes, and bring it back. We didn't find any, in the mind, I don't know the mind, but outside, there was never any feeling that we were outsiders, we were brown people. We were treated very well. Now about to leave England. Yeah, I was 28 years old.
Wow.
Vijay was almost 2 years old. We left in November. At that time, flights had started. So we used to pray every day that we are not sent by air, because we wanted to have that 18 days paid holiday in the cruise boat. Okay. One more good thing happened was we came by a P&O liner, which was a British liner, and they had very strict rules about children, about dressing up and things like that. Fortunately for us, we were not sent by air. There was a Polish ship. We were very lucky. We didn't come back by P&O. We came by a Polish ship called Batory. This ship had no rules about. They're very open. You did just what you liked. Children can go anywhere. They could go with you for dinner. For all meals, they could go into the dining room. In the P&O, children had to be left in the creche. Children cannot go for meals. But this was a delightful ship where there are no holds bar. Just do what you please. There is a creche. If you want to leave your child in the creche, you're welcome. Otherwise, you can take him wherever you want. And you don't have to dress up for dinner. We had very good company. There was one Lieutenant Colonel D'Souza, I don't remember his name exactly. He had 7 children and they were running around, and one of them, mostly the younger one, was always last. I think his name was David. So they would just say, "Has anybody seen David? Has anybody seen David?" David was always missing. One of their children was always missing. We had some other very good people. There was the commissioner, ex-commissioner who come back after being High Commissioner in London, Dharamveera, who later on did a lot of things in life. He became president of many states in India, and we traveled together. We became very good friends. And like that, there are also, we had social life is very good. And of course, food was excellent, as is there is always in line. And Vijay was running around on the ship, there's no problem. And whenever we wanted to leave him in the crash, he used to go to the crash. So we had a very, very, thanks to the Polish ship, we had a great time coming back. So we landed in Bombay. I was posted to 509 Army Base Orchard, Agra, which was the only electronics base workshop. All the electronics good in the army, when they were not be repaired in the field, were sent back to depots. And from depots, they came to us for major repairs. What used to be called strip and rebuild. We took the entire radio set pieces and then rebuilt it again. To start with, accommodation for us was arranged by one of your dadi's cousins. Dadi's one cousin was married to a service officer coming from a very big family who was commandant of the ordnance depot, where all the electronic goods used to come and then reissue. So he arranged for us a small house. So we lived in that place for, I think, about 2 months. And there were about 7 or 8 houses in a row. And made very good friends there. And eventually, we were allotted army accommodation. The accommodation that we were given was a barrack type, 7 houses in a row. On top of that was written 7 NCO's quarters. NCO is non-commissioned officer. In the British time, NCOs was a big thing because all the officers were British. NCOs were also British. So these were reasonably good houses. And 7 in a row means we had very good company. We had brought a refrigerator from UK, Frigidaire. So now what happens? 7 houses and 1 fridge. Everybody will come, keep their milk, children's food, something or the other in our fridge. And then anytime at night, somebody will come and say, can you open the house? We sleep outside. I want to take milk for my child. Anyway, that was fun. Mataji and Kari, they were living with us. After we reached Agra, they both came to Agra. Kari was going to school in Agra. I had also brought with me a Philips cycle from UK. So, of course, cycles were available in India, that's not a problem.
Yeah.
But an imported cycle, so Kari was a small boy. He was, if I was 28, he was 17, 18 years old. He was going to school, and every day, whole day, he used to keep polishing this cycle. I was doing a good job in the workshop, and I was liked by the CEO. CEO was a Parsi gentleman. Name was Pesi Madan. I served for a very half my life. That story will come as well. So there were 2 majors, and I think about 8 to 9 or 10 captains, and all the working people were mostly 90% were civilians. And every morning at 11 o'clock, there used to be a meeting in which all of us had to answer questions about technical things, what is happening, how are things going. So it was fun plus tension because you were asked to explain what is happening, but also we were served tea and something to eat, and a lot of jokes and fun. One day, this CEO, he was very tough man. He said, nobody dies of working hard. There was one gentleman, tall South Indian fellow. He says, yes, sir, I don't want to be the first one. Now I think I will tell you about the holidays we had every year. This was now 1957, November we reached there. And we used to get 2 months annually. So 1958 annual leave, the Malhotra family went to Dalhousie. Dalhousie is a hill station. Pitaji, that's my father-in-law, and he had bought, the Fiats had just started coming to India. The first few were fully imported, and then slowly manufactured in India started. I think the one he had maybe was 90% imported and 10%. And it was a tiny car. In that car, a driver and the entire Malhotra family. How we got in, I don't know. That is my father-in-law, my mother-in-law, driver, myself, Madhu, Vijay, Kumar, and I think Beer. Anyway, somehow we stuck inside the car and the Rosary. My Sali, they lived in Jalandhar. Anup came to England to stay with Kari, with Vijay. Finished all his whiskey in 1 week. So the Kapoors came directly from Jalandhar. The rest of the family came in that car. And Prabha was a student in a school in Dalhousie. So she joined us from there. Prabha was more or less a part of the family. Because Prabha's father and my father-in-law were very close friends. He was in the army, her father, in the medical corps. He was a doctor. So that was so much fun that 2 months or whatever we stayed there, maybe not 2 months, maybe a month. We had a big house, and your Dadi, as you know, she was very fond of making apple pie. So she made apple pie in that, sent it to the bakers who baked it, and it came back. And she made custard, and the whole family enjoyed that. Myself and Kumar, he and me, and one of my Malhotra Sahib men, 3 of us walked from Dalhousie to a place called Khajar, which is now a very good hill resort, Khajar. A small lake, followed by beautiful meadows. And we walked from 18 kilometers from Dalhousie to Khajar, another 20 kilometers from Khajar to Chamba. Chamba was a very nice place, small old state in town. Coming back, we came by bus. But one way, 38 kilometers we walked. My mother-in-law, she was a wonderful, that is the Dadi's mother. She was a really great person, most loving and giving lady. And my father-in-law was must in his own dreams, always singing songs. He was at that time posted in Amritsar. He was a collector, excise and custom in Amritsar. 1957, we had a Maini family holiday. We went to Missouri, but we didn't stay in Missouri. We stayed in a place called Lindor, which was, I think, about 5 or 6 kilometers hike. At that time, there was no road to Lindor. So we parked our car in Missouri, and from there, we hiked to Lindor, where we had arranged a huge army bungalow to live in. And we had a huge bungalow. And there was my brother and his family, elder brother, Vyas, his wife, his, I think, all the three children, myself, Madhu, Vijay, and Kari, my younger brother, Mataji. So, the entire Maini family. We had a great time there. Your Dadi was carrying Kamal 7 months. Kamal was born in October. This must be July. So, if you wanted to go for shopping or for restaurants or whatever it is, you have to climb down and climb up this 6 kilometers. So, she should say, let's go to Missouri. So, we used to all go to Missouri. Then, when you used to come back, he said, not again. I'm not going again. After 4 or 5 days, then again, the family was wanting to go to Missouri. She said, no, I will come. So she made all the trips to Missouri that we all made. Maybe 5 or 6 trips to Lindor. Lindor it was a beautiful place. Lot of walking areas. Beautiful place. But the town was Missouri where there was restaurants, shops. There's nothing in Lindor. So if you wanted to have go for shopping or restauranting or any other thing, you had to go down to Missouri. Kari, from there, in between our holiday, joined the IMA in Dehradun. Dehradun was just below Missouri. So he went away to Dehradun, became a cadet in the academy, and we stayed on in Lindor. And when we came back, we met him in Dehradun. There's a friend of ours with whom we stayed, and Kari was very upset because he said, I don't want to stay here. Here they abuse you. So we said, you get used to it. Or in the army now,
Yeah.
you will start abusing after some time. 1958, we went to Punch, our home. The house was still there. Mataji, we used to go there every year. We have not yet sold it. So we all went. Kari was commissioned and he was posted to Punch. We had a very good holiday, partly in Punch and partly in Surinder. Surinder is a place on way to Punch. Beautiful place where my Masiji used to live. Masi Krishna. She was married to a family there and she lived there. And we went to spend quite a lot of time with them. There used to be, in the village where they stayed, there used to be a tree which was at night lived in by a lot of chicken. All the chicken used to roam around during the day. At night they used to rest on that think the joke was one chicken will be pulled from the tree every day and murdered and eaten. So we used to joke with our masters, which one is going to be born. Right? So we had a very, very good holiday in Pune. Kamal was born in 1957. Then in 59, Neera was born in Agra. Both were in Agra hospital. 59 July, we eventually got posted out of Agra. My boss was just not wanting me to go. He cancelled 2 or 3 of my postings, and eventually he couldn't do anything. He really liked me. And eventually I got posted to Jammu, and I think in July 59, I we went to Jammu. All 3 children were there. The workshop was on the shore of the the Tavi River in Jammu. We were on the not on the Jammu side, but the other side of not the Jammu town, the other side of this river Tavi. And Madhu's family was in Jammu, next door. We had bought a motorcycle. Their family used to come to our place. We used to go there. I wanted to tell you something about Agra, which I missed. We had a helper, a servant called Chedi Lal. No story can be complete without a mention of Chedi Lal. For our 3.5 years stay in Agra, he looked after us like nobody can. Unbelievable person. He was a scheduled caste type who people will not keep as a servant. As far as we are concerned, we don't care who he is. And he really took charge of us. He did everything, everything. All the kids, he used to put them on his shoulder, take them around. He was absolutely a phenomenal man. And without mentioning about him, my story of Agra cannot be. Jammu, we were not there for very long because I got I got my promotion to major and got command of a workshop in Amritsar. From Jammu, after about, I think, 1.5 years, I moved to Amritsar. I brought my, I, I told my wife, I'll come and pick you up later. I'll take most of the luggage. I brought the luggage, including the refrigerator. And I went and plugged the refrigerator, and there's a boom. In Amritsar, where my mess was not AC, it was DC. Blown up. Then one of my jobs there was how to get it repaired. That's a different story. But we managed to get it done and started using it. We got accommodation in Amritsar. There's one on Mar Road, one lieutenant colonel, old lieutenant colonel, had a huge bungalow. And these bungalows used to have outhouses where servants used to live. So he converted these outhouses into really tiny flat houses, flats, which he used to give to the army or anybody wanted. It was a doll house. There were, I think, 2 bedrooms and a kitchen and a store. And Mataji was with us. We had kids had a very good time. In the EME, normally you don't get helpers unless you are in a field or commanding a unit. So I got a helper. I went to the workshop. I was going around and I saw a 6'4" Sardar cutting wood. So I told my Surinder major, he is going to be my helper. sent him to my house, and this big Sardar became a helper. He was a great person. I had the same cycle that I brought from India, and he was three times the size of that bicycle. He used to ride that bicycle, take Kamal to school. This story couldn't finish without this guy. My wife used to say, buy half a kilo of, say, lady fingers. So he'll bring 5 kilos. My wife said, I told you half a kilo. नहीं मेम साहब, half a kilo की होता है. मैं 5 kilo ले आया. I had bought a car. मैंने was in Amritsar. I bought a Hillman mix, old British car, for 5,000 rupees. So I went for a course to Mahu, and a Kari came on a holiday and was staying there, and he wanted to take the car out. So he was taking the car out from the garage, and this chap was saying, keep coming, unless hit a tree. So Kari said, look, why don't you stop me? He says, you are an officer. How can I stop you? So my car got damaged. One day, I was not there, I had gone on a course. A friend of mine, old friend from college days, who lived in Shimla, came to visit us. And Madhu bought a lot of sweets and things like that. Vijay sat on the stairs, and they used to send Kamal down to bring stuff. So before this guy came, all the stuff that my wife has bought, this guy finished it. So then Kari hammered Kamal. Your mother got all these things from the market. Are the fellows coming? You guys. So we had a lot of fun. We had very good neighbors. We bought a whole goat, barbecued it on an open fire. We all just sit around it. We had a lot of fun, and there are very good eating places. Walking distance from our house or by car, where we used to go in the evenings. And Golden Temple, this, that. Amritsar was a very, very nice. Once I came back from my JC course, I had been there for about a year. Then I got a ring from my CEM. CEM is Controller Electrical Mechanical Engineers, Chief, Lieutenant Colonel. He used to be in Ambala. He rang up from Ambala and said, there is an organization in Bangalore called ILE. What is ILE? I said, Inspectorate of Electronic Equipment. They want you. And they'll send you to Switzerland. You want to go? I said, well, if they're sending me to Switzerland, I certainly like to go. So after about commanding that workshop in Amritsar for about a little over a year, I shifted to Bangalore.